Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this evening. Today, our topic is going to be what player on the Dallas Cowboys defense will have the biggest impact in 2021. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. So if you like the video today, please come and share it. The gentleman that's going to be helping me break down which defensive player is going to have the biggest impact. He's been gone from us for 2 weeks, but he's back in the house. He's royalty. He's loyalty. He played this game at a high level. Two-time All-American at Florida State. Let me repeat that again. Two-time All-American at Florida State. And he played 12 years in the National Football League. My man, coming from South Florida, Delray Beach, Florida, Mr. Bobby Butler. How you doing this evening, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I've missed you the past 2 weeks, Vincent. I'm so happy to be back, man, and talking this football thing, man. I'm excited today.
Yes, sir. And we're going to have the season. It's going to be kicking off in August with Dallas playing Pittsburgh in the Hall of Fame game,
right.
August the 5th. So the NFL is right around the season. And right quick, before we get into the Dallas Cowboys and which defensive player is going to make the biggest impact, I haven't talked to you about this certain topic. How do you feel about the National Football League going to 17 games, man?
Well, you know, the National Football League is a business, and a business is in place to make what? Money, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad they did that, but on the other side, I'm glad that they, taking away a preseason game to do that. I think preseason is a little overrated. I know you have to evaluate your talent, but, as a player, you only really need a couple of weeks to get ready for a season, not 6. And so, but I understand what they have to do. They have to, get the numbers down to a certain place and then go for it. But we're excited about it, man. You and I both know, Vincent, we love this game of football. And the more we can see it, the happier we'll be.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And, man, it's been 30 years since they've been to the Super Bowl. 1996 is the last time that they held up the covered trophy. I was 36 years old at the time, and I thought for sure, Brother Butler, that they win at least 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. But it's been a long time. I think this team is very special. I think the only thing separating them, I think they're good on offense this year, as long as Dak Prescott is healthy. But it's the defense, I think, that where they got to take it to the next level. Absolutely. Which player you think is going to make the biggest impact?
Well, before I get there, let me say one thing that's important. Last year, their defense struggled. Right? They struggled because of the scheme. Okay. They didn't have the personnel to run that 3-4 defense, right? And so you're seeing guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, not play as good as we know him, as a player. And so Dan Quinn is coming in. Now, I don't know what y'all think about Dan Quinn. I know he wasn't that successful as a head coach, even though, Vincent, he led the Falcons to the Super Bowl. Had it won, but it got away from him. That's a whole nother story. But Dan Quinn, Vincent, is a defensive guru. You can say what you want to say about this man, but when this man is a defensive coordinator for a team, not the head coach, that's a whole different responsibility. But when his responsibility is to coordinate the defense, Dan Quinn gets the job done. And so I'm excited for the Dallas people to get this kind of caliber coach to go along with what they already have. You got an offensive-minded coach as a head coach, but now you got a defensive genius on the other side of the ball. And although we got all those pretty toys on offense over there in Dallas, we got to get pretty on defense in the defensive kind of way. And so I like the choice of Dan Quinn coming in and turning that thing around. And here's the other thing. I think the guy who's going to impact, the defensive player that's going to impact the Cowboy defense more than anybody this year is their number 1 draft choice. All right, he's going to come in, Michael Parsons. He's a monster in the room. And every time I think about him, Vincent, I think about what Deion Sanders brought to us back in 1989.
Yes, sir.
He's going to bring that energy level back. He's a monster of a player. We're talking about a guy who's 6'3", 245 pounds, of pure power and speed. I mean, I don't think they ever had anybody this gifted since Hollywood Henderson.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so this guy is going to get the job done. I'm excited. I think Dan is going to use his D-line to make sure those offensive linemen can't get to his linebackers. And they're going to have Mr. Parsons going sideline to sideline, inside out, making tackles all day long. And the thing about this guy, I'm interested. I can't wait to see him play because this guy is not just a middle linebacker. He can play every position on the defense. So you can put him on the line and let him edge rush. He was a bona fide outside linebacker or defensive end coming out of high school, 5-star, rushing the passer. And he played that way some at Penn State, rushing the passer. This guy can do it all. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see him play. He will get it done. And remember, not only was he a great athlete going into college, but he played at Penn State, which is linebacker university. So he come from a place that breed linebackers, and I love that. And he's going to really help this Dallas defense get to where it needs to be.
When I look at the Cowboys, and you brought up an interesting point, the scheme, they played a 3-4, and you saying they didn't have the personnel, now they're going to a 4-3. And one of the biggest keys for me, if you go back and look at the success of the Cowboys in their Super Bowl years, they've always been very strong on the D-line.
Yes.
Bob Lilly.
Yes.
George Andre.
Yes.
Super Bowl teams there.
That's right.
Then we go a little higher in the 70s when they had Randy White out of Maryland.
Randy White.
Too tall out of Jackson, Tennessee, 80 miles from my hometown of 901.
There you go.
And Harvey Martin.
There you go.
Then from 92 to 95, they had Russell Maryland out of Chi-Town by way of the U.
That's right.
Then they had Jimmy Jones by way of the U.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had their young man, Chad Hennings, Air Force #1. Mm-hmm. And then they had the great man out of James Madison by the name of Charles Haley.
Yes.
Cowboys gave up 158 yards rushing last year, 31st in the league. Mm. That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Brother Butler, you get to the Super Bowl. So the guy who I think is going to have the biggest impact, they got to get somebody in the D-line that can tie up some tackles. And people might be kind of surprised when I bring up the young man from the basketball school, the University of Kentucky, 6'3", 330 pounds, Quentin Bohanna.
Yes.
I think he holds the biggest key to the Cowboys defense and making the biggest impact because when you look at it, the Cowboys, I've been saying this for years, they haven't had that impact D-lineman.
That's right.
Even during the Tony Romo years.
That's right.
Greg Ellis was a good football player, but I'm talking about a guy that can create havoc.
Yes.
And when you look at here recently, I'm even go back to 96 up till then. When you look at Green Bay, they had Gilbert Brown out of Kansas. Then Denver had Neil Smith. Washington had Charles Mann and Dexter Manley. To me personally, now you're the expert. You played 12 years. To me, you got to have somebody that's going to make an impact on the D-line. Because last year, Lyndon Van Der Earth stayed hurt at the linebacker position. Jalen Smith took a step back. They talking about not re-signing him, signing him to a lot of money. But basically, they couldn't keep people off him.
Right, that's right.
So you got to have somebody. And I like Bohanna. And Tyrone Crawford stole money last year. No disrespect. But Quentin Bohanna out of Kentucky, the 6th round pick, I think it's going to be the big key. And he puts me in the mind, Brother Butler, of a guy that really, to me, was the best defensive lineman when the Cowboys had that great run from 92 to 95. His name was 2 L's, Leon Lett.
That's right.
You have the floor, brother. I think they got to have an aircraft carrier on the D-line. They gave up 158 yards rushing, first in the league. Think about this, Brother Butler. If they cut half of that, say they give up, let's say about 112, that equates to what, maybe 3 or 4 more wins?
Oh, absolutely.
Or a strong playoff team.
Right. Well, you think about it, Vincent. At the end of the day, At the end of the day, you hear me say this week in and week out. You can't win without people up front.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, when I talked about Michael Parsons is going to be that shining star, but he can't be a shining star unless the guys up front don't make it happen. And that is the key. Football is such a team sport. It's really hard to just pick out one person or one one position to say that they're going to be the strongest, the biggest impact, because it has many pieces and parts to it. And when you talk about defensive lineman, I like the fact that you brought him up, is the fact that we need those guys up front to win. If they do their job, everybody else can do their job a lot easier. If they don't do their jobs, you'll never hear about Michael Parsons, right? You'll never hear about all those guys that play on the second level. And so I think they got some pieces to get it done. I'm excited. We've always been excited about the Cowboys because we always think, especially this time of year, that they got the potential to win it all. And, all of us Cowboy fans, I'm included. Before I ever became a Falcon, before I ever became a pro, I was a Dallas Cowboy fan. And so I still root for him. My son played with him for 3 years. And
yes,
so,
sir.
And matter of fact, I'm in his office right now, and everything in here got Dallas Cowboys on it.
Amen.
Right. And so, I'm just really hoping that they put it together. I can't wait to see him play, because from an offensive standpoint, we know they got an explosive offensive team. We all want to see that, but I'm a defensive man. We got to stop some people to be able to win games.
Your final words on the Cowboys in 2021 from a defensive perspective.
I think from a defensive perspective, they're gonna have the scheme in place. Their corners are not gonna have a whole lot of pressure, and we got young corners, right? It's gonna be more of a zone type defense, and I can't wait to see Kelvin play, a guy from Kentucky. The corner. I can't wait to see Diggs play with under Dan Quinn. Man, this thing gonna be magic, man. It's gonna be an exciting time for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I just pray that they stay away from injuries this year. I hope Dak, can come back, bounce back, and continue the things that he left on the field at the end of the year last year, because he was on pace to do something crazy. And so I want to see them get back to it and have a chance to get to that big game we talk about all the time.
My final words, and most of all, kudos to Bryce Butler, Bobby's son, who did play 3 great years for the Cowboys and was very productive. When I look at the Cowboys, to me, it's very simple. You gave up 158 yards on the ground, 31st in the league. You got to have people up front.
Yes.
It goes back to almost 30 years. The Cowboys, last time they've been to the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 30. Not 30 years, but about 25, 26. I got to get off the map. And back then, it was a song out. And I did it this morning on my team of the decade with the Dallas Cowboys. If the defense comes around in 2021, the great poet, Horace Brown, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 for the honeys. The Dallas Cowboys going to be in the Super Bowl. God bless. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I got the legend. They're very talented. And remember this, people, serious business. This young man played 12 years in the National Football League. That's not happening at any level in today's game. We need to respect him about that here on 100 Yards of Football. One more time, he played 12 years. And that's a lot of football, and nobody's playing 12 years now. And I'm very blessed to have him with me today. The brother, Mr. Bobby Butler. Y'all enjoy the video. Please tell people and come in and share it. We are 100 Yards Football. And to our producer, Mr. Jeremiah Long, thank you for your outstanding work today. Y'all be blessed.